Necklace of Fate, Part 2. The hospital corridors were too bright, too sterile. Temi clutched her handbag tighter as she hurried toward Tun's room, her heels clicking against the vinyl-covered floor. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and something faintly sour beneath the sterility. Temi walked briskly down the hallway, her heart pounding with a mix of relief and lingering fear. Tund had been recovering well, miraculously, the doctors said. But something in his voice during their last phone call had set her nerves on edge. When she pushed the door open, her brother Tund sat upright, his eyes clear for the first time in months. His broad frame was thinner than she remembered, his eyes darting toward the window before settling on her. His face was tense, his fingers gripping the sheets like a man bracing for impact. She embraced him, relief flooding her veins, until he stiffened. "Temi," he said, voice low. "Close the door." Her stomach twisted. She did as he asked, then pulled a chair close. "What's going on? You sounded terrified on the phone." Tund leaned forward, his breath shallow. His whisper was a blade against her ear. "Guess what, Temi? They're not gone. One remains. The police didn't get all of them." A cold finger traced her spine. "What do you mean?" Temi pulled back, searching his face. "What do you mean?" Before Tund could answer, a nurse opened the door and entered, her smile polished. "Visiting hours will end soon." The woman's ID tag read Ima, but her gaze lingered too long on Temi's neck, where the necklace once rested. The nurse raised Tund slightly as she adjusted the bed to prop him up to a sitting position, supporting his back with a pillow, and on her way out she did not forget to give Temi another look, this time like one not very sure if she would respect herself and leave early as instructed or would like to defy her and stay on. "One of them came to see me last week," Tund whispered, tall scar running down his left cheek. "He stood right where you're sitting and told me we're all living on borrowed time." Temi's throat tightened. "Did he threaten you?" Tund gave a hollow laugh. "Threaten? No. He promised. Said the Brotherhood doesn't forgive, doesn't forget. And Pastor Mark, that he's next." Temi's blood turned to ice. "What? They're going to kidnap him. Make an example of him." Tund's hand shook. "Temi, they're not just men. They're something else." Temi's phone buzzed at this time and it was a message from an unknown number. "Pastor Mark sends his regards." Her breath caught. That evening, rain lashed against Temi's windows as she paced her living room. Tund's warning gnawed at her. The police had dismantled the cult, but what if their power extended beyond mere arrests? Her phone buzzed once more, the same unknown number with a fresh message. "The Lagoon doesn't keep secrets forever." Her breath hitched. The necklace. Had it somehow resurfaced? A thud echoed from her backyard. Temi crept to the window, peering through the storm. A figure stood in the downpour, their face obscured by shadows, but the way they tilted their head, the broad shoulders. Could this be Ishola? Her pulse roared. Not possible. She'd watched the Lagoon swallow him. Yet there he was, dripping wet, his lips moving silently as if reciting an incantation. Or is it his ghost? She was someone that did not believe in the existence of ghosts. But how on earth could she explain this? The storm outside Temi's house was relentless. The wind howled like a wounded animal, rattling the windows as if demanding entry. She stood frozen in her dimly lit living room, her phone still clutched in her hand, the ominous message glaring on the screen. The Lagoon doesn't keep secrets forever. Her breath came in short, sharp bursts. No, it can't be. Another thud from the backyard. Temi's pulse spiked. She crept to the window, her fingers trembling as she peeled back the curtain. The figure was still there, taller now, his outline distorted by the downpour. Water dripped from his clothes, pooling at his feet, but his face was wrong. Too smooth, too still, like a mask stretched over something else. Then his lips moved. No sound came out, but Temi heard it anyway. A whisper slithering into her mind. "You shouldn't have thrown it away, Temi." Then, as if to enforce what the figure just said, there was the sound of glass shattering upstairs. Temi spun around, heart hammering. The lights flickered once, twice, then died. Darkness suddenly swallowed the house. Pastor Mark arrived about an hour and a half later like a storm of his own, his voice cutting through the suffocating silence. "Temi, open the door," he called out, trying to keep his voice above that of the rumbling thunder that continued unhindered even after the storm had died down. Temi nearly sobbed in relief, stumbling toward the sound. The moment she unlocked the door, Pastor Mark pushed inside, his face grim under the glow of his flashlight. "They're here, aren't they?" he asked, not really to find out but with full assurance as he brought out his Bible and a plastic bottle containing holy water. Temi nodded, her throat too tight for words. Without warning, he was already sprinkling holy water across the threshold. The pastor suddenly stopped and fixing his eyes on Temi's eyes declares, "The necklace was a seal. By destroying it, you didn't break their power. You unleashed it." Pastor Mark's voice was steady as he went on to anoint her door frame with oil. "They're using the necklace's absence against you," he murmured. "Its destruction created a void, one they're trying by all possible means to fill." "How?" Temi's hands trembled. "By binding you to something worse," Pastor Mark said. "Something highly demonic." A crash sounded upstairs. The pastor's eyes darkened. "They've brought him back. Not as a man this time, but as a vessel." Temi flinched. She was convinced that Ishola hadn't survived. Definitely something else had. A floorboard creaked upstairs and both of them froze. Pastor Mark gripped his Bible tighter. "They've brought him back. Not as a man. As something hungry and viciously yearning to devour whatever is in its path." Temi was very terrified as the snarling and grating sound re-echoed from the top floor above them. This must be an evil beast straight from the raging fires of hell, she thought. Would she eventually escape this? Was Pastor Mark just one man, capable of offering the needed spiritual firepower to overcome these ravenous wolves? In a flash, she remembered the words of her brother Tun that the Brotherhood had concluded on kidnapping the pastor. Should she tell him? Would that not make him abandon her to the mercy of the accursed Brotherhood out of fear? She concluded it was better and safer not to tell him. After all, he hears from God, as he said. Such things should not take him unaware if his claim was true. "What do we do?" she whispered. The pastor's jaw tightened. "We fight. Fight we must. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers." Upstairs, the air was thick with the scent of wet earth and something metallic, like old blood. The door to Temi's bedroom was ajar, shadows writhing inside. Pastor Mark stepped forward, his voice booming in prayer. "In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you, reveal yourself." A guttural laugh echoed back. Then Ishola stepped into the doorway. Except it wasn't him. Not really. His eyes were black. No whites, no pupils, just endless darkness. His mouth stretched too wide when he smiled, revealing rows of needle-thin teeth. "You can't win, little lamb," the thing crooned, its voice layered with whispers. "The Brotherhood always collects its debts, and it'll soon be payday." Temi's legs threatened to give out, but the pastor stood firm. "Bind it," he ordered her. "Say the words with me." Together they recited Psalm 91, their voices rising over the unnatural wind. The creature snarled, its form flickering like a dying light bulb. Then the bedroom mirror shattered. Glass rained down as a final ear-splitting scream tore through the house. And then silence. Dawn crept in like a wary stranger. The next day, Temi called the police. They found no trace of an intruder, just broken glass, waterlogged footprints, and a single gold chain coiled on Temi's bedroom floor. Her necklace. But that was impossible. She'd thrown it into the lagoon. Hadn't she? Pastor Mark's face was grave when Temi mentioned this on the phone. "That isn't yours," he murmured. "It's a trap. A way to pull you back in. But you must resist. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." Temi's hand shook as she asked, "What do I do now, man of God?" The pastor hesitated, then replied, Let it lie there for now. Call me first thing tomorrow morning. I'll pray this night to seek direction from God, and then inform you tomorrow. This needs to be dealt with urgently. Delay is dangerous. For now, let it remain there. I'll advise you to stay away from that room for now. I shall come to complete this exercise. Temi was totally disoriented by the evening of the next day. She had spent the whole of the day calling the pastor's line without getting through. It was quite unusual, as the line was said to be switched off. What could be the matter? How can this be happening at a time like this when she had unfinished business of prime importance with the pastor? Temi could not go back to her house as she could not predict what lay in store for her and, as a result, had been hanging around after closing her shop for the day's business. The events of the previous night left her seriously shaken to her bones. As the pastor had said, she was ready to fight them and not willing to give up. But the pastor's unavailability has posed a serious impediment to her, as she lacks the ability to confront the silent brotherhood. Suddenly it dawned on her that she had not taken any food since morning and was seriously hungry. Temi located a small canteen down her street and strolled in to eat. She sat down and ordered her food while she sipped from a bottle of soft drink as she waited for the food to be served. She sipped her drink absently, her mind racing. She had tried calling Pastor Mark about 35 times and sent 12 SMS messages, yet no answer. Let it not be that the pastor had played a fast one on her by deciding to steer clear after what he had experienced in her house the last time. No way. That was not possible. The little time she had known Pastor Mark, she could vouch for him that he was a man of his word and a genuine man of God. He could not be one to play hide and seek with her. Never. Her food arrived finally and she started to eat immediately. After a few minutes, a hand touched the nape of her neck and Temi froze, spilling a bit of the food on her body in the process. Temi? Oh my God, Temi! A female voice shouted in excitement. She looked up. A woman with bright eyes and a wide smile stood in front of her, a face from her past. Abigail. Her old secondary school friend slid into the seat opposite her, laughing. I can't believe it's you. After all these years. They caught up briefly, but Temi's distraction must have been obvious. Abigail's smile faded. It's been ages. What's up? You look like you've seen a ghost. Temi hesitated, then, against her better judgment, told her everything. The necklace, the cult, Tun's warning, Pastor Mark, and the fearful figure that later turned out to be Ishola. Abigail listened, her expression growing graver by the second. When Temi finished, Abigail leaned in. I know someone who can help, she said slightly under her breath. A priestess in Badagry. She deals with things like this. Temi's pulse quickened. You believe me? Abigail's eyes darkened. I've heard stories about that brotherhood. They don't just kill you. They own you, body, soul, and all. Temi made a decision. Take me to her, please. The journey to Badagry was a long and stressful one as a result of the bad road filled with bumps and potholes. Finally, they got to the ancient city of Badagry, and then proceeded to the shrine, which was on the outskirts, almost at the border town between Nigeria and Benin Republic. It was a secluded shrine deep in the Badagry forests, where an elderly priestess waited with a clay pot of blazing coals. The air was thick with the scent of burning herbs and something older, darker. The priestess, with eyes that gleamed like polished coal, studied the necklace in her palm for a while without a word. After a few minutes and without warning, she burst out chanting in Yoruba. Then she tossed the necklace into the fire. The gold screamed as it singed, a sound no metal should make. This is not just gold, she murmured with a heavy Yoruba accent. It carries a soul. It speaks. I can hear its protest. Temi swallowed. Can you destroy it? Without a word, the priestess gripped it with a wooden contraption, took it up, and observed it closely for a while, almost like having a conversation with the necklace. Then he grabbed a calabash gourd by the corner and drank copiously from it, then took another mouthful and spat it on the necklace. She nodded with her eyes still on the ornament, then began chanting in a language neither Temi nor Abigail could recognize. She tossed the necklace into a clay pot filled with blackened coals. The moment the metal touched the fire in the clay pot, there was a high-pitched shriek, like that of protesting metal scraping bone. The priestess gasped. her hands flying to her throat as if unseen fingers were trying to squeeze her neck. Her eyes bulged as she struggled, her mouth working soundlessly. She gestured wordlessly at them as she vigorously struggled, trying to free herself, and at the same time desperately trying to tell them something. Yet no meaningful words came out. Abigail screamed, "She's choking Temi!" Temi lunged forward, but the old woman's body convulsed rapidly, her back arching unnaturally. The flames in the pot roared, twisting into faces and shapes, screaming, "We have to go!" Abigail yanked Temi's arm. Now! They fled, the priestess's gurgling cries chasing them into the night. As they approached the chartered taxi, parked by the clearing, Temi dared a glance back. A figure stood at the shrine's entrance, tall, scar running down his left cheek, watching, smiling. Temi hadn't slept. Every creak of the house, every rustle of wind, sent her heart into her throat. Abigail had stayed the night, equally shaken. Both of them dared not move to Temi's room upstairs, but slept in the sitting room downstairs. The TV played the morning news on low volume. Then breaking news: firebrand deliverance pastor abducted in Lagos. Temi's blood ran cold the moment she saw the headline on the screen. A photograph of Pastor Mark filled the screen. Abigail grabbed her hand. They took him. Temi's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. A voice, smooth and cruel, whispered, "You shouldn't have run, Temi. Now the priestess is dead. The pastor will be next to kick the bucket. And then we come for you." The call disconnected abruptly and was quickly followed by a slow, deliberate knock on the front door. Temi's breath stopped momentarily. Abigail's eyes widened as she asked, "Temi, did you lock the door?" Of life unseen in whispered dreams, she stumbled upon